Hello everyone, this is my first tutorial in a little while. I've not been around very much since I've got my PC upgraded. I have been busy in general, so I've not been making any tutorials, and you've all been super amazing anyway at learning stuff, so I don't really feel the need to, but I'll do some basic tutorials using UDK materials. Some of you were struggling on what to do there, so best way to learn materials is to maybe look at objects that are already in the UDK engine. So if you click on like the packages here, and you can go through various packages, but what I'll do is I'll just choose static meshes and that'll filter it down in all assets. And basically you just want to look for stuff that looks cool, like this here, and you can see a seam line there in the symmetry for one, so that's definitely a texture that's just been wrapped round, and then something put on there, and you've got the normal maps doing all this ridge work here because it's really probably flat, as you can see. So let's have a look at the material, which is under the LOD info here, and you have to expand it out. Like normally it'll be all collapsed down like that. This one will be the number of material channels or LODs, something like that, per object. And there's usually one or two, maybe more, but there's usually one. And you expand it out until you get to material, and there'll be this little magnifying glass here, so if you click on that, it goes and finds the material, and if you double click that, it opens up, minimize that, it opens up the material edit. That's the contents. I'll just close that. That's the object. I'll just close that, and that's material. And you see it's really simple. They've channeled the alpha channel into the specular layer, so there must be maybe some alpha data here. There's a way of seeing this. If I do a multiply, which is hold down M and press, I'll get a multiply, and I can channel that in there. And if I press the number 1, I'll get a constant value 1 and click. Doesn't work when I'm screen recording, so I'll just find the constant, and it's a single constant vector. I need to show the properties of that, and I'll change that to 1. So I'm basically multiplying what's in this channel by 1, connect that up, and if I check that, I can see they've put this data into the alpha channel, maybe using Photoshop or something like that. If I channel the blue in, you can see the detail in the blue channel, and to see the direct effect of that, I'll plug it into specular. And there's not much difference between the alpha and the blue channel, apart from you see some little bits light up there. So sometimes you can get away with not even bothering with an alpha channel or an extra channel for specular. You can get it from maybe the RGB of the, that should really be multiplied by 1 there. So you can see the alpha channel. Let's just preview it on a cylinder and make more sense, even though no, it would make more sense, it's not mapped right. Let's try it on this. And channel the green in. No real change there. Red. And you see a little bit of change. So you don't really need a specular map all the time, but taking specularity from the colour is a trick in itself. You maybe want to make your diffuse map dark in certain areas where you don't want it to shine. Like there's rust here, which is generally dark, it's not really shiny, and it's been coloured in quite dark, so it kind of works both ways. It means you don't need that whole specular map. And you've got the normal map here being channeled into the normal. You don't want to mess about with that too much. there is some things you can do with it. So one thing I like to do here is to make my own spec map with a bit of colour in it. So if I hold down L and click, well, it doesn't work in screen record, so I'm looking for a lerp, which just means linear interpolate, and it means it will take whatever's in A, whatever's in B, and it'll kind of blend between, kind of like a DJ would mix between the left disc and the right disc with this blend node. And I'll use this number here. If I change that to 0.5, it'll be half of A and half of B. So I want the diffuse and I want this, and that should give me some colour. So I'll channel that into specular. I'll get the shininess that I need, plus I'll get some colour from that as well. So if we compare that, not much difference really. What I also could do is strengthen it. So I'll do another multiply, hold down M, click. And you see I'm being quite messy here, I've got lines everywhere, but for the sake of this I'm not too bothered. And I'll multiply it by, if I find a constant, single constant, I'll type in 3, that strengthens it, add that into specular, and it should look a lot brighter now. So if I take that away completely, holding down Alt and clicking, you can see no specularity. Channel that in there, and that's a good level of specularity now. And if I want to narrow this light area, then I put a relatively high number into specular power. So again, constant number, and I put like 100 in, because specular power can go really high ranged. The higher you go, the more pinpoint this light will be. So we'll do like 200, that will just be a tiny little bit of light there, making it look more glossy. If I bring it down to 20, that will spread the light out. I think it's more spread out there. So those things are quite good to mess about with. And it's basically like using layers in Photoshop. You've got the multiply method where it will brighten and darken areas, where it's mostly like numbers that is all done by here. So yeah, have fun and mess around with the existing materials and make up your own scenes with any change materials. You can mess around with those. I will be right back in a little while, and I'll do some more tutorials on these material things and some tutorials later on hard surface modelling using ZBrush. So I'll see you guys then. Cheers.